You have to describe that experience.
Oh, better than expected. Not as scary, surprisingly competent, and quite extraordinary. Why is the Tesla Model Y still Australia's best-selling electric car and the world's favourite? It's got great storage, there's loads of room for the family, and it's had some tech updates and ride updates that make it a more appealing car. First, let's take a look at the design. Juniper brings subtle but meaningful changes. There's new matrix LED headlights for adaptive lighting, a full-width taillight bar, and a cleaner rear with illuminated Tesla lettering. They've made some aerodynamic tweaks to drop the drag coefficient, improving efficiency and range. Plus, there's fresh wheel designs and refined bumpers that give the Model Y a sharper look. But it's the interior space that continues to kick goals for families, and that starts at the rear with acres of boot space available, easily enough to swallow up multiple suitcases. There's also a huge frunk under the bonnet too, with plenty of usable storage. In fact, all up, the Model Y has over 2,100 litres of load carrying capacity, offering the biggest space for its class. Inside the Model Y, and it's an exercise in simplicity. There really isn't that much to talk about in the actual dash itself. You've got an RFID key card, which allows you access to the car, and you just pop it here to start it, or you can have a digital key installed on your phone as well. So it makes a seamless entrance into the car. The features are basically all controlled by this touch screen here, which is great while you're not on the move, but can be a little bit distracting if you're trying to find different functions and you're driving. So recommendation is to try and get everything set up before you head off. That includes the steering wheel, which can be adjusted through this screen here by using the buttons on the steering wheel itself. And also your mirrors are also going to be set up using this screen. Now, one of the reasons Tesla's opted for this streamlined look is simplicity. It makes it an easier car to build. And it also means you're less likely to get creaks and rattles because there's not a mishmash of different materials that are working against each other like you get in some vehicles. And the layout itself, well, it's really nice and clean. There's loads of storage, big deep pockets in the doors, as well as a huge area here for storing bits and pieces. I can easily fit a large bottle of milk in here if I need to do the last minute milk run of an evening, and I can just tidy that all away when it's not in use. There's wireless phone charging as well, and you can just pop your phone here and you're ready to go. However, I don't like the fact that you can see the screen while you're driving. I prefer the wireless chargers where the phone is actually stashed out of the way. If you've been researching Teslas and you've known the brand for a while, you'll know that there's a whole bunch of different features too that you can use through the touchscreen. Some of them are a little bit more useful than others. Some of them are decidedly more juvenile, so you may well find that your kids get a laugh out of setting the indicator to a fart noise. That's not for me. However, a light show that you can program in the evening where the headlights show and the music plays is kind of cool for a one-off trick. And we can also set a whole bunch of other light options through here using the ambient lighting. And then we can even, when we're sitting stationary, perhaps watching the kids play soccer, we can get cozy by activating the onboard fireplace. Depending on what time of year it is, or if you just love Christmas all year round, you can press the voice activation button and do this. Ho, ho, ho.
Out of all the reindeers, you know you're the mastermind.
So loads of pretty cool features. How much you'll use them on day-to-day running, I'm not so sure, but they are some fun gimmicks to show off to your friends. And moving back to some more practical matters, the seats, well, they're nice and comfortable, and we've got an uprated sunroof, which helps to attenuate all of the sunlight coming through. Because this is an SUV designed for families, the rear seat is really important. So let's go and have a look and see the space that's available back there. What I wouldn't have given to have had this kind of accommodation on family road trips as a kid. I've got loads of room, loads of leg room. There's great headroom here, and the effect from this sunroof really is quite impressive. It's beautiful and light. I've got nice vision out of these windows, but probably the best feature is this touchscreen. I can do everything on here. I can tune into Netflix, I can play games. So road trips are never going to be boring again for the kids. There's also fan controls for the heating and ventilation information here too, so I can increase and decrease the speed as well as changing the direction of the airflow. It's a really great feature, and it definitely will make you comfortable on summer road trips. But if you don't want the kids to fiddle around while you're driving, then you can also lock the rear display too, switching off the controls. Going back to the space, pretty decent room for 3 across the back. We've got this rather nice and easy to use armrest here. We've got storage in the back of the seat pockets, and again, just like the front, we've got these big deep pockets in the doors. One of the things I'm not so keen on is there's no manual door handles, so you've got these buttons to use instead to release the doors. There is an emergency release which is located down here in the door, so you probably want to be familiar with that before you hit the road. But all in all, I think this rear space is a really nice place to be. Well, before I even hit the road, I'm looking at the shifter on the screen. So I've got to push it forward to go drive and put it back to go into reverse. So I have used this before. I don't think it's the most intuitive system. Call me old fashioned, but I don't mind a shifter to actually use, or even on the column to actually put the vehicle into gear. So again, push it forward. Bit of a tricky one. One thing I've noticed is there's not very much noise at all coming from outside. This is a very quiet car to drive, and I think that's probably due to the uprated glass. It does give it a more of a refined ride, even on this gravel section. This is the rear-wheel drive version. There are also all-wheel drive, long-range and all-wheel drive performance versions. Now, this is still quite sure-footed even on an unsealed road, and it's a nice car to drive. It's got a nice steering feel. The driving position, you're sitting quite high in this vehicle. Can I lower it down? I can lower it down a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of works for my preference. I've got good vision, really great vision actually of the car. The windscreen feels absolutely massive in this vehicle. The A-pillar, while it is quite large, it doesn't appear to obstruct the view, and I've got really great vision through these large windows too. So all in all, I am feeling like I know exactly where I am in this car, so it's always a good thing. And on this gravel section, well, the ride is very smooth. You will get slightly more sure-footed performance from the all-wheel drive versions, but this is acquitting itself very well indeed on a gravel road. We will transfer very shortly to tarmac, and we'll see how that transition is. Yeah, it's a nice smooth road. This has got a 20-inch wheel on it. Typically what you find when you're driving a car with a larger wheel and tyre package is that the ride can be compromised over bumps and lumps in the road, but this car is acquitting itself very well. The suspension is doing a good job at managing all of those bumps in the road. I've got the standard Regen on now, which is relatively aggressive. So once you take your foot off the throttle, it does slow the car pretty quickly. You can adjust that to, I think there's a chill mode. But again, if I want to make that adjustment, I've got to drill through this menu. One of the only physical controls on the car with the exception of the steering wheel is an indicator stalk. Interestingly, the Model 3 briefly had the indicator through the scrolly button, but they reintroduced the stalk. The Model Y has always had the indicator stalk, and it's one of the few concessions to minimalism that the organisation has made. So that works well. And once you engage the indicator, you're bringing up the camera as well, so you can see around the car. And that's a great function that will help you avoid incidents with other traffic users, road users, pedestrians, cyclists, and the like. You can also set the steering to your preference. This is the standard steering, and I found it's got a really nice balance. You can also opt for a lighter steering, so that's really great if you're doing a lot of driving in the city, or a heavy steering just gives you additional feedback there. But honestly, standard will be fine. You'll probably leave it in that setting. If you're enjoying this video, give it a like and share it with your friends and family. We post new RACV videos every day, so hit subscribe and press the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest motoring, home and travel content. So we're now employing the full self-driving supervised mode. It's really important that you stay in control of the vehicle. This is not a self-driving car, even though it's carrying out all of those
Now turn
functions.
right onto High Street.
You're still in control of the vehicle. You're still the one that needs to intervene should there be an issue. If I'm honest, it's not quite as smooth as the first time that I experienced FSD. That was on a prescribed route. On first impressions, it's a really interesting system. The car seems to be quite, very intuitive.
Turn left onto Fisher Parade.
We're on a guided route and it's doing everything for me. So it's coming up to roundabouts, it's braking when it needs to, it's indicating when it needs to, it's very aware of other traffic on the road. This is new territory for this car. So it's interesting to see how it's tackling the challenge. It will make this left-hand turn very shortly and we'll see how this one goes because from memory it's a relatively tight turn. Interestingly as well, we've got bike lanes for it to contend with too. Number of
Now turn left onto South Road.
Competing road markings. It's missed it completely. I don't think it saw the road markings that it was anticipating because we had that bike lane painted on the road as well. So all in all, the driving experience is pretty relaxed. The car is easy to drive. And with the exception of everything being controlled within this screen or via voice control, it's actually a pretty easy car to drive.
Charging is a breeze via Tesla's own supercharger network or the growing number of ChargeFox chargers around the country. Over-the-air updates keep features fresh. However, you'll be paying a monthly subscription fee to access key infotainment features like music streaming and live traffic updates, so factor that in. One of the Model Y's biggest Achilles heels was its lacklustre vehicle warranty, but it's been made much more competitive with the introduction of a 5-year unlimited kilometre vehicle warranty. The 8 years, 160,000 kilometre warranty on the battery remains, with a guarantee that it won't drop below 70% capacity during that time.
So will the Model Y stay on top of the sales charts in Australia in 2026? But with the addition of full self-driving in supervised mode, that could be the technology that just keeps it ahead. It's a unique feature and something that I think a lot of buyers are going to be very interested in speccing for their Model Y.